Just general information?
All kinds of stuff, yeah. So tell me about yourself. You're the medic here on the premises,
Yes,
then,
sir.
at the camp?
So I'm portraying a soldier of the 9th Infantry Division fighting in the Normandy region of France in June, July 1944. So as a combat medic, you have a pretty simple role. Your job is to get to the wounded man, treat for shock, stop the bleeding, and evacuate them to a field aid station as quickly as possible. This setup is set up to be a field aid station. So I have a couple of the infantry gear on display, but for the most part, it's looking at the basic wares and materials of a combat medic. Medicine has progressed a lot since World War II, but a lot of the modern medical advances we have as conveniences now are because of the medical advancements made by Navy corpsmen and combat medics during the war. So the Carlyle Bandage is our standard bandage of World War II. Every GI carries one in an ammunition pouch right here on the side of the belt. And once you pull this open, inside is going to be one Carlyle bandage and one packet of sulfa powder. That sulfa powder is meant to sterilize the wound before you apply the bandage. This is our first time in military history that we're having a clean bandage applied to a clean wound. That way you're really decreasing that risk of disease and infection. Disease and infection is the leading cause of death in every conflict prior to World War II. During World War II, we were able to treat a lot of people very quickly, move them off the battlefield quickly, and really lower that rate of disease and infection because of the quickness of the treatment and also because of the materials we're using are more clean and sterile than they were before. Our main painkiller during the Second World War is morphine. Morphine's a great painkiller, but you have to be very careful of how much you administer. Morphine relaxes the muscles and allows the blood vessels and arteries to expand as that occurs, which means if there's a hole in one of the arteries or blood vessels, it does make it easier for that patient to bleed out, so you can only actually cause them to bleed through their bandages. So you have to be very careful how much morphine you administer. The easiest way the GIs got around that was after you administer the morphine, bend the needle and pin it to their jacket. That way as many morphine squibs as there were on the jacket, you know that's how much morphine they've been administered, and you did lower the risk of them being overdosed on that morphine. Once they're stable and they're able to be transported, they're going to be moved back to a place like this at a field aid station. Here they can perform basic medical treatments that I can't do out in the field, minor surgery, repairing some of the shrapnel wounds, actual removing of the foreign objects from the body, and then allowing them to be patched up and then moved farther back to a battalion aid station. So combat medics worked hand in hand with your frontline infantry troops. Those infantry troops kept the medics alive and the medics kept them alive and fighting. So medics definitely had one of the more physically and emotionally demanding jobs of the Second World War, and they did that in a capacity where it was really selfless service. So combat medics did amazing things, and most of them were just simple guys that weren't professional soldiers. They weren't professionally trained doctors or surgeons. They just had a talent for numbers or science or being a little bit more creative than the other guys in the squad. So on top of medical treatment, they were also in charge of the general welfare of the squad. So making sure guys are changing their socks, drinking enough water, staying hydrated, staying healthy so that the unit maintains its combat effectiveness. So definitely one of the, I wouldn't say forgotten, but underrepresented groups in terms of the memory of soldiers that served. So we're trying to do them justice by honoring their sacrifice and teaching about what they went through and what they did to help us win the war.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.